May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be always acceptable in your sight, O Lord, my strength and my Redeemer. Amen. A few years ago in the Super Bowl, a Subaru commercial premiered where a dad was leaning in his driveway on the passenger door of a car, looking at the person sitting in the driver's seat. So your seat's good, got the mirrors all adjusted, he says, as the camera pans over to a little girl, about 3 or 4, wiggling around in the driver's seat, trying to buckle her seatbelt. The dad tells her that he doesn't want her going on the freeways yet, she's not ready, and to just leave her phone in her purse because he doesn't want her to text. And the little girl at this point is so frustrated that she pulls her seatbelt over her knees and says, "Daddy, okay." He hands her the keys and she gleefully accepts him. "Be careful," he says. And as the camera switches back, we suddenly see a teenager in the driver's seat. And team, every time you get in a car, that is what your parents and guardians see. Their precious, beloved little child heading out into the world. But what you see is a steering wheel and new destinations and adventures unfolding in front of you. It's an excellent commercial. After all, Subaru's marketing says that love is what makes Subaru a Subaru, which is maybe copyright infringement for, the Lord. But I think today the most poignant point for me is the very end of the commercial. The journey is changing, where a new path is being layered on top of a path that has already started, which is important because we don't always get a clear and clean ending. And don't we know that, team? The Thursday before spring break, a small group of you seniors organized a few banners and signs, and thanks be to God, what turned out to be sparkling cider to toast your last day of school. And I hoped that y'all were just being dramatic and having fun, while internally I prayed that it wasn't going to be the case. You got in your cars at the end of that day, and we have yet to gather again together at school. It's not a clean or a clear ending to your time in classes at St. Andrew's Episcopal School. And this is uncharted territory. And there is simultaneously, even now, this layered moment of saying goodbye to something you've known and turning your sights to the future, all while being grounded for a little while longer, exactly where you are. It's like that moment when you get in the car, make sure you have everything, check your rearview mirror to see where you're going. So it's an excellent thing, team, that the members of the senior class are the class of 2020, who are in the driver's seat with their excellent vision. Since the day you walked on our campus, you have been a class defined by joy. If you started as a freshman at St. Andrews, so did I. And I cannot tell you how much you have taught me about how to adjust to a new place, how to hit your stride, how to get back up when you fall down, and to thrive. You seniors are the first class that I've walked through all 4 years with, and you made me a chaplain. So I can confidently say that your joy has been your strength. And I humbly admit that your joy has often been mine. You've watched the classes who graduated before you navigate their senior year, and you have leapt into your particular joy, laughing, cavorting, being ridiculous, just as much as you have been thoughtful, industrious, dedicated to our community and to one another. And I have never, on the whole, seen a class that laughs and smiles as much as you do. The reading we just heard from the Gospel of John is about the first time Jesus appears to his disciples after his resurrection. And they're amazed, but somebody is missing. Thomas, a disciple in the Gospel of John who was always a part of the group, and even on one journey when everybody else was flailing about and not knowing what to do, told Jesus, "I will go with you. We will go with you wherever you go." Thomas believed in what they were about together, no matter where they went, no matter if they were actually together or not. But Thomas isn't there on that first day. And so when the disciples tell him they've seen the Lord, Thomas says, I think with a healthy sense of humor, look, unless I see the marks in his hands and touch them and the wound in his side, I won't believe you. We have to understand that for Thomas and the disciples, the past few days have felt like weeks, and the past few weeks have felt like years. This group went from gathering together and going everywhere with a path unfolded towards a known ending when they got bowled over by another path quickly overlaying what they had anticipated and taking them in a new direction. There's been chaos. There's been fear of crowds. Jesus has died and they don't know if they're going to die too. Team, they are even remaining at home in these days to stay safe. So where is hope to be found? Thomas has only in the past 100 years got the nickname Doubting Thomas. For thousands of years beyond that, Thomas has been revered because doubting is a part of believing. Doubt is a part of the faith of the journey. And wanting to know the truth, wanting to stand in front of it and have a visceral, embodied experience is the type of connection and the type of relationships that we all want and we all need. And there's a sadness that comes with the bittersweet realization that his friends got to have an experience he did not. Team, it's not a clean or a clear ending. But in the chaos of the times, Thomas and his friends actually pull closer together. They stay in contact more frequently. And a few days later, all of them are found together when Jesus appears again. See me, Thomas, Jesus says. See my hands and my side. Touch them. Don't be unbelieving. Believe. And Jesus blesses all those who will have to believe without ever getting the same chance that the disciples had, without ever having the same experience that Thomas now does. In the end, Thomas gets his clean and clear ending. But Jesus blesses all of the endings that won't be clean and won't be clear. The endings that will be about the choice to believe that love continues to bind us together, even when we can't be together. That joy can be found in the bonds that we make. That every adventure begins in that moment where we look behind us and then turn our heads forward, onward towards the future unfolding beneath us, starting just where we are right now. John ends his gospel by saying, there are many other signs that aren't written here, but these have been written so that you may come to believe. This is only part of the story, John's telling us. This is a conscious choice to only carry forward the best parts for the journey ahead. And team, I find comfort in the fact that if the Bible itself does not have a clear and clean ending, then we can take comfort and can take hope and joy in our unclear and not quite clean ending either. This ending that we share today, the last day of high school classes for the members of 2020. Everybody else, we've got a solid month. But today is when we hand the seniors the keys, they who are desperate to get out of here and bless their journey. And to do that, we get ready. We adjust our mirrors and look forward. A week later, his disciples were again in the house and Thomas was with them. And although the doors were shut, Jesus came and stood among them and said, peace be with you. Do not doubt, but believe. Team, in these uncertain times, please believe that even if what love is what makes a Subaru, joy is what makes the class of 2020, the class of 2020. I was so good. Remember that this life is short and we don't have much time to gladden the hearts of those who journey with us. So be quick to love and make haste to be kind. Amen.